All right, welcome to another Friday Reads, where we're going to talk about what I finished, what I'm reading, what I plan to get to next. And it's kind of become my weekly book hauls, because I've had a problem lately, but I don't care. These 3 books are stunning. If you watched my mid-year book freakout tag, you've seen some of them. I'm so joyed to have these on my shelves. But let's talk about what I've read. I did finish Lagoon by Nidia Okorafor. This was on a lot of lists for me. It helped me in my 21 to read in 2021 and my Reddit bingo. And this is a first contact sci-fi story set in Nigeria. And I do have like a Goodreads Storygraph review, but all in all, this was really solid, but a little too action-packed for my taste. Typically, when stories are this action-packed and plot-driven, I prefer mediums like TV or more specifically movie. I love me a good first contact with alien movie. And so I think just because of my preferences in storytelling, I didn't get to see the character interactions that I usually like when I read a story. Like, I like the characters. I think all the characters are unique and I generally understood them all. But because I didn't get to see them really interact with each other, and because they didn't get a chance to breathe, because like this story just goes, it wasn't my preference. But I was not surprised when I read the acknowledgement section, and this was inspired by a First Contact with Aliens movie. So I definitely see that. I need to watch that movie, because it apparently made her so angry that she wrote this story. I don't know. I have no idea what that movie did. I haven't watched it. I think it's called District 9. My favorite First Contact story is Arrival, as you all know, which is also like a much more introspective, slow-paced story. I also like Independence Day. I do not like Mars Attack because I was traumatized as a kid. Yes, Dad, if you are watching this, I was too young for that movie. But anyway, so I finished that. That was for my Poseidon prompt. Go me. And now I'm still in the middle of all the things. So, audiobook. Still reading Lord of Chaos. I am approaching 60% of the way through that one. There are interesting things that are happening. Not a lot overall has happened. I think I mention all the time, I never know the arc of a Wheel of Time book until I finish it. I'm like, I don't know what we're going towards in this book. Like, I know we're going in the entire series. I have a good sense of like where this is all heading, but I do not know what the climax of this story will be or how we get there. But I'm not disliking the meandering moments, but I'm also not super compelled by the meandering moments. It's been perfectly great. Like, it's fine. It's not a bad experience. It's also not a very memorable experience, which is fine for my audiobooking life. Now, another epic fantasy that I am currently reading, Memories of Ice. I'm now that far. I feel so accomplished by how much I have read. I am solidly, I think, at the halfway point of this one. So I read part 1 and 2. Part 2 I just finished, I think, yesterday. And it was a little more disjointed than I like my Malazan books to be. What's weird is I like Gardens of the Moon and Memories of Ice magic and lore stuff more. But I liked the kind of more cohesive narrative structure of Dead House Gates. Dead House Gates had a very formulaic chapter structure that I found comforting. We had several separate groups of people, and I knew I'd see all of them in each chapter, so I could like break the story part down into like 4 parts. This is like there are so many players and so much stuff's happening, and it's all interesting and cool and important, but like I always like after I finish a part go down and write notes so I can like film my little vlogs about it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that happened too. So many disjointed things happen. But I just started part 3. Part 3 had the first chapter was a lot, and that's the one that's the section's called Capucin, I think. There's a town. The whole point of this story is like there's war in every book. These are all military fantasy. So we have a very military battle scene that just happened, and I once again somehow make something that's usually very not my thing in fantasy like super compelling. Like how that whole chapter played out was very engaging, even though it was one of the longer chapters in the book. It was like 40 pages, so still enjoying my time here. Still on track to finish it by the end of the month for Hephaestus, and I will get the 900 pages for it. And on my Kindle, I started Mind of My Mind. I think that's what the second one's called. I have like a bind up on my Kindle because it's, last I checked, available free through Prime Readers. So if you've been interested in Wild Seed by Octavia Butler and you have US Amazon Prime, it's there for free. And the whole book is like all 4 books put together is like 800 pages. Like, that's so attainable. This one's only like 200 pages. And I just started it, and I'm liking it. I mean, I liked Wild Seed, and what's interesting is this was written before Wild Seed, and it luckily nothing's been retconned or anything like that. It's just interesting to see a book that was written before a book that I read that basically recaps things that happened in the last book, but it wasn't recapping at the time. Like at the time it wrote stuff down, the past book hadn't been written yet. So that was like a little weird, but now I'm in the story and there's just something interesting about the qualities of people you meet. So in this world, you have these two more like immortal beings, and one of them likes to specifically breed people with magical abilities or like kind of mutant abilities. It's more similar to X-Men than it is to magic, but because we start Wild Seed in such the far past, our attachment to it is through a fantasy lens, I feel. But you have these people with genetic qualities that allow them to have tricks, kind of like the most common one is telepathy. I'm stumbling all over my words today. But it's kind of like if you've watched X-Men, imagine like a person is purposefully trying to create Jean Grey, and like, but every time they do, it's like you get the Phoenix instead. Seems to be what's happening with this person. And I think he's trying to make a super like human thing again. And I don't know how that's going to pan out. Like with Wild Seed, I didn't know where it was going, but I liked what was happening. And that's the same thing here. It's like, I don't know where it's going, but I like Doru, I like Anyanwu. Well, liking Doru is a weird idea. I don't mind that he exists. Like, he makes sense to me. He follows what I would consider reasonable expectations for an immortal being. And so we've met other characters. One's Mary, who's pretty interesting. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Like, I know these are all individual books, and I'm counting them as such for the readathon, but I'm kind of treating the whole Patternist series as one book, especially since it is so short, and I'm just very curious to see how this whole thing pans out. I'm just like, I think the last book is the first published, and that's just going to be such an interesting experience. So that's on my Kindle, and then this is the start of the book haul as well, because as you guys know from last week, I was reading The Jasmine Throne, and now look, I'm holding it. First of all, it's beautiful. Like, so stunning. Like, look at the spine. Look at the cover. All right, everyone? It's stunning. Also, the font, super big. So nice. And it's super floppy, like extra flop. It's the same height as Mask of Mirrors, which makes me happy. So when I do reorganize my shelves, those two will probably be going together. It's not the same height as The Unbroken, which is the same publisher. I don't know how publishers decide how tall to make their books. I don't know how it works. But this one, I'm now like halfway through, you can see, and I'm really, really enjoying it for like what I expected it to be. So I went into this one expecting slow burn, meandering fantasy where I'm slowly going to see characters and their character developments as we approach the climax of the story. So I did not expect this to be fast-paced, and it is not. But I'm really enjoying the slow burn relationship builds. I'm enjoying the world building. The writing style is fantastic. The character interactions have been chef's kiss. Like, there were a couple chapters back to back that I kept voxering my friends, being like, oh my gosh, that interaction was A+. Oh, and no, this interaction's A+. It's got a lot of messy stuff. I really love Priya. Priya is our main character. There's a lot of point of views. More than I was expecting. I expected to have the main character, Priya, and the princess, so I believe this is the princess. It might be Priya, but I think it's the princess. And I think her name's Malini. I don't really know how to say it, but it's spelled Malini. There we go. And so, but it has more point of views than that, and I like a lot of those other point of views, especially the perspectives it gives me. And I really like Priya. Because Priya is this character who doesn't really remember a lot of her past, but remembers a bit of it, which is like my favorite type of amnesia. So she has a lot of her own personality, but there are gaps in her history to fill in that will probably inform some of her decisions. I love that. I like that Priya's smart. I like that she's a survivor who cares about others. I really like Priya. I also like Malini's like point of views when we get her, because she's a manipulative princess with a very interesting backstory. Like, you start the prologue, and her brother is a piece of work. I'll just say that. I mean, it's the prologue. I don't think that's spoiling anything. So I'm really liking it. Now, I can see why it wouldn't work for everyone, because it's pretty slow-paced, and I know not everyone wants that in their stories, but I am loving sitting in these lush prose, meeting these people with this nice floppy paperback. And I've just been very into the orange warm tones that publishers have been giving us recently. So I think those are all the things that I'm reading right now. And up next, I'm hoping to, once I finish either The Mind of My Mind or Jasmine Throne, I'm going to start my reread of Hero of Ages. It is time. I kind of like to end the month on a reread these days, and I want to finish this. That's just how it's going to be. I probably will read the Kindle because I have it, but I also own my mass market paperback, well loved. Nice broken spine. Also, it's kind of fun to break the spine on Memories of Ice. I don't do it intentionally, but I can just see my progress. Don't know if that comes up really clear to you guys, but I can just see as I break the spine the progress that I made. Also comes from the smudges of my fingers on the pages. Mass market paperbacks are not meant to stay pretty. Now, the other 2 books that I bought for serotonin, you probably saw if you saw my video on Wednesday. One is New Sons, which I just love it. This was the short story anthology I read this month, and I have the Kindle. I actually bought it on a $2 sale. And I really like it. I'm excited that I'll have this on my shelf just as a collector's item, but also to peruse through someday. I don't know, sometimes some of my friends are like, hey, I want to read this short story and I want to talk about it, because short stories are so great for discussion. Actually right now I've been slowly rereading Exhalation by Ted Chiang, so I haven't talked about that, but I reread the first 2 stories because I have friends who want to do that right now. They're holding up, oh my gosh, his writing is so good. But I've just been rereading those. Who knows, maybe after I reread the whole thing I might make another video on Exhalation, because gosh darn it, it's so good. But I'm really happy to own this. It's just stunning, and again, it's a really good height. I like this height book. And then the last one, Each of Us a Desert. It's just so pretty. I'm so excited to reread this. I'd been itching to own it since I read it in November, and then I was talking to Shannon about it, and I was not remembering things because I first listened to this on audio, and my audio retention is good, but it's not great. And I'm I would remember an answer to your question if I had physically read the book, and I want to read the prose. I just want to read it with my eyeballs, and I'm very excited to. And I showed in my these are how the chapters start. They don't have chapter titles. It just has this beautiful art of the desert. And it's different desert kind of every time. I think it's stunning. And it has pretty end pages, and it's a light blue inside, which is my thing. I'm so happy I own this. It's just stunning. And I was torn between getting this or the paperback, because they have different covers. The paperback actually has the 2 main leads on it. But I really like this one, mainly because blue-orange contrast. I'm basic. I'm a slave to blue-orange contrast. So that's the video. I also saw In the Heights last weekend, so it's not the video. And full disclosure, I'm Venezuelan American in the diaspora. I'm white Latina. That's what I am, and I loved seeing it. I really did. But I have also been hearing a lot of the discourse, and I agree that it really dropped the ball in including Afro-Latina people in the film. It really should have, and it's a bummer that it dropped the ball in that way. I don't know. I still love it for what it is, though. Not ignoring, but recognizing that it has that flaw, and it's a big flaw. It is the best musical adaptation I've ever watched. I love musicals. I love musicals so much. Last year, I did a musical thing where I actually sang. So if you want to see that embarrassing thing from a year ago, it still exists. I love this musical, and I loved how it came onto screen. When you make an adaptation, you shouldn't try to carbon copy a thing, I don't think. I think that's when adaptations go poorly, is when you try to verbatim create a thing from one medium to another. It's not the point. With musicals, it's tricky because musicals, it's actually really hard to see them. There's a financial barrier there. There's a location and financial barrier. Not everyone can go to Broadway and see a musical. It's just a fact. But for those, I prefer when they just record the Broadway show then. There's the Rent movie, and then there's the Rent Live DVD I own, and I like the Rent Live one way better. So I like that. If I want to watch something that's on stage, I'd rather have the recording. But if you're going to adapt it to a movie, you have to use the tools that movies give you that you don't have for a musical, and you need to let what works better on stage stay on stage, and I think they did that really well. I think they really utilized, the best of both things to create this musical. And, it has flaws, but man, it's so good. The lip singing isn't even that bad, which I'm normally really picky about lip singing. I am so picky. So I'm probably going to go see it again. And you should go see it because it's a wonderful time. And I was talking to friends about this, and I like Mamma Mia. I don't dislike Mamma Mia, but Mamma Mia is not as good as In the Heights, and it will make more money because people are more comfortable listening to ABBA and watching people on vacation in Greece than they are watching In the Heights, and I don't know why. It's just a really fun time. It's about community, it's about family, it's about dreams. I mean, like I said, it's not perfect. The musical's not perfect in terms of, you know, thematic inclusivity and everything like that, but man, I really love it. And I'm gonna go see it again. And hopefully this time, I don't know, I've been like a little vague, but we had a rough weekend and I saw it on Friday before the rough weekend. And like, it was still good, but I think I want to just see it again and give it another like clean slate to be like a positive space for me, because I can recognize its flaws and I'm still going to love it. And I don't know, that's just what I've decided to do with this piece of media. It's so complicated. The world is so much. I dislike it. But that's a piece of media I consumed and I very much liked. I didn't get to play board games as predicted, although my mom let me punch out a new Viking game that I really wish I had gotten to play. I like Viking games, apparently. Okay, so that's this video. Those are the things I've consumed. What are you reading, watching, etc.? And if you want to leave me an emoji, I don't know, something orange. I've had a lot of orange covers lately. So we're going to do something orange. It can be the orange heart or whatever else you find. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.